Let me preface this by stating that I am not a UFOologist. I wouldn't call myself a researcher either. More a layman. I do have a fascination with the topic, but for many years I was in the hardcore skeptics camp. When people like Bob Lazar or Dr. Stephen Greer told their stories, I wrote it off as LARPing, or live-action role-playing. Just fantasy for fun and kicks and giggles. Whenever a story about aliens or UFOs surfaced in a tabloid, I'd think, if this is true, why are we not flooded with high-definition pictures of the crafts? Billions of us carry high-definition cameras with us. Not one of us has managed to capture a clear picture? Or if these craft are so highly advanced, then why do they crash so much? There are dozens of stories out there about crashed alien craft and even retrieval of their pilots and crew, deceased and otherwise. I routinely wrote it off as all in good fun, stories to fill up the back pages of trashy magazines. Now, I am one who can change their mind when presented with new information. In December of 2017, we were all presented with new and extremely convincing info. The New York Times published a story detailing encounters between the US Navy and UFOs. I will link the article in the description, but I suspect if you found this video, you are well aware of the FLIR 1 gimbal and go fast videos that were the primary subject of the article. So there it was, in stark black and white, by as credible a source as we have. UFOs exist, and they appear to be interacting with us, or at least our military. I was stunned and couldn't stop thinking about it for some time. I still can't stop thinking about it. The public's response to the story was underwhelming to say the least. It appeared as though the small percentage of people who followed this stuff closely rejoiced, while the majority of the public's response was either dismissive or simply uninterested silence. Fast forward approximately a year and a half later, when on April 19th, 2019, a 15-page document surfaced detailing a conversation that, if true, would, without being too dramatic, change everything. The document is referred to, in UFO circles, as the Admiral Thomas Wilson document. You can read it in its entirety yourself. It's still online and a link to it is in the description below. This document has been referred to as literally the most important document ever obtained by the UFO community. Apparently an Australian, James Rigney, an architect and in his spare time a UFO researcher, obtained this document via an anonymous source. That source stated the document had its origins in late astronaut Edgar Mitchell's files. I vaguely remember being aware of the document shortly after it was published, but I suspect I wrote it off as unverifiable. I thought it was most likely a hoax document, carefully put together but still just another relic to feed the LARPs. The document details how Admiral Wilson, at the time the Deputy Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency in the US, was denied access to information about secret programs. The document more than once references Wilson as being furious about being denied access to information he believed was under his purview. This document, if authentic, would mean a few things. It would be proof that people in the US government have been aware of UFOs for some time, that they have successfully backwards engineered, retrieved technology, and that there is a complex intelligence apparatus comprised of both government and private organizations dedicated to developing this technology and keeping it a secret. Curiously, this apparatus does not include the President of the United States or anyone in Congress. The document references meetings with someone named Greer. Many believe this to be none other than Dr. Stephen Greer, the man responsible for the documentary Unacknowledged, available to anyone with a Netflix subscription, and the one I've referred to earlier as a LARP. It's an easy assumption to make. He has for years claimed he had met with high-ranking officials concerning the UFO phenomena. I find it curious, though, that Greer would have more information on this topic than the Admiral, or even POTUS, or Congress for that matter. The document references things referred to as core secrets. Many speculate that not only are these core secrets about UFOs, but also about a way of creating energy that would overnight solve the Earth's energy crisis. Greer has claimed something similar. On page 13 of the document is perhaps some of the most compelling and startling information. I'll quote it. When referring to crafts allegedly retrieved by these special access programs, it states, "It was technology not of this Earth, not made by man, not by human hands." In other words, aliens. Now let's be clear. The Wilson document is unverified, published online from an anonymous source, and contains information that has been widely characterized in the past as something that only conspiracy theory nutjobs will waste their time with. But what if the New York Times published an article verifying the authenticity of the document? After all, the original Nimitz video had circulated online for a while and was then later deemed by the Times as being authentic. Could the New York Times have found a reason to believe the Wilson document to be authentic as well? This is exactly what the UFO rumor mill is all abuzz about right now, in July of 2020. It is rumored that the New York Times, either this November or December, like in December of 2017 when they verified the authenticity of the circulating UFO videos, will publish an article verifying the authenticity of the Wilson document. What would this mean? Would it verify that an alien civilization is visiting Earth? It certainly would add to the body of evidence supporting such a claim, and support the likes of Dr. Stephen Greer's claims. Many believe that we are in the midst of a slow drip disclosure process by media organizations and governments. Over the past few years, many governments have admitted to studying the phenomena and have even publicly reported that they were revising how these encounters are documented. The US Congress is demanding disclosure of any information the intelligence community has concerning the phenomena so that it can be released to the public. There have been numerous accounts across the globe claiming alien abduction or visitation, and there does seem to be a recent deluge of information concerning UFO and alien encounters in the media. For instance, there is the History Channel's new series, Unidentified: Inside America's UFO Investigation, that tells the story of the Nimitz encounters, among other things. Also, Netflix recently rebooted the Unsolved Mysteries anthology series. Episode 4 of its first season documents the Berkshire UFO incident, where people claim to have been abducted and numerous people claim to have witnessed the UFOs, including police authorities. Not to mention that practically every major mainstream media organization has recently run stories exploring the topic. Reuters, Fox News, CNN, The Guardian, BBC, the list goes on. So should the Wilson document be authenticated and added to the growing pile of trustworthy evidence, what conclusion can an everyday person make? I believe that conclusion is as follows. Technology exists that would solve our energy crisis overnight. There is also technology that would make Elon Musk's SpaceX rockets look like a child's play toy. And perhaps most importantly, we're not alone. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed my work, please consider liking it and subscribing. And as always, remember, love is the answer, whatever that means.